Story 1. TIFU by causing a date to have an allergy attack. Well, if there ever was a case for bad timing, bad luck, and bad sex, this would be it. At 25M, met a woman 24F on Tinder, and after some time talking, invited her over to my place for some dinner and to play some games of Mario Kart. We added a twist where for each race a person loses, they must remove one article of clothing. What ended up ensuing was multiple competitive rounds, but in the end I won. From there, things escalated very quickly and progressed from making out to both our clothes coming off, eventually reaching the point of us having sex. Hey race, where the fuck up of the fuck down comes in the middle of it. Things were rough and heavy, and she starts to say her lips are getting itchy. And while this is happening, I can see her breasts, thighs, and many other parts start to turn red. We stop, and she asks me if the dinner we had any sort of seafood in it, and that she has a severe allergy to fish. It was not in the dinner, but in all of that, I remember that I had salmon for lunch, and I kissed her in many spots on her body. I tell her what happened, after which she immediately gets dressed back up, grabs her bag, and immediately runs to her car and speeds off, presumably, I think, to go to a hospital. I tried calling and texting her, but got no response to both. More than anything, I wanted to make sure she was okay. And if it was a bad allergy attack to the point of anaphylaxis, I was willing to go with her and drive her to the hospital, considering this whole situation was my fault. After 3 days, she texts me a short paragraph basically saying I'm a sweet guy, but she wasn't feeling a spark. I feel horrible about this, and I feel like me causing the allergy attack probably contributed to her decision. TLDR had sex with a woman. She had a bad allergy attack because of the fish I ate for lunch. She stopped talking to me a few days later. Plasma Lightwave says, so long, and thanks for all the fish. Yami76 says, if she can't communicate a deadly allergy before you all eat dinner, asking if the dinner you had seafood in it after, that seems like that's on her. My wife has a deadly food allergy. She won't even pet a dog before asking the owner if they've eaten her allergen that day. Rolfetis2106 says, I think you chose the wrong app. Tinder would have been okay if you met her on Plenty of Fish. Story 2. TIFU by trusting the eyewear salesperson, I knew something was wrong. I had a good eye appointment as usual, and then went to buy my glasses. The place I go is usually more expensive, so I expected it to be more. Like last time, I picked out a frame that would be covered by my insurance. The salesperson pulls up my info and says, you got anti-reflective, scratch coating, and single vision last time. Do you know what you got last time? I said yes. I didn't really remember what I got. Then, after a while, I get told the total. I wasn't asked anything else. The total was nearly $300. Last time, I didn't pay that much, and I asked if all my insurance got applied. I was told yes, and you're paying for the anti-coating. I asked once more and was told it's correct. I couldn't remember, so I figured must be right. The price just seemed wrong to me. I have to pay before seeing the charges or getting the receipt. I pay, get a sheet about a warranty, and then I see a warranty in addition to the other charges. I was never asked about a warranty. I don't know why, but I didn't check until after in my account how much I paid last year, 110, and I knew I had the files from last year. I check it. Last year, my anti-coating was a different type which is covered, and I didn't get a warranty. I knew I should have pushed back more and refused payment, or at least looked at my old account. I never get warranties for stuff like this. Knew it wasn't like me. Well, I'm out that money now. Next time, I'm taking the old sheet with me and requesting exactly that. This is why eyewear sales and anything with a dentist feels like a scam, because it really is. TLDR today, I fucked up by trusting the eyewear salesperson to give me what I got last time. Didn't insist on seeing charges laid out first, and didn't check what I got last time. Was given a different order. Basically, got scammed out of over 100. Dilla Bravo says, read the warranty paperwork closely. Some have a cooling off period where you can cancel and get a refund. Because of BS like this. Megaffer says, go back and agitate for a refund. Fancy Friday says, check out Roca or Zenni Optical. I had to get glasses because I was unable to wear my usual contacts directly before getting corrective eye surgery. I didn't want to pay for some expensive glasses to be worn for only a few days and then unneeded afterwards. So I used Zenni. I think they were $36, and I got a couple extras on them at that price. I had them a few days later as well. Fairly fast and inexpensive. Story 3. TIFU by ignoring all the red flags a few years ago, I agreed to meet up an OfferUp seller to buy a bicycle for $200. There were multiple red flags that I consciously acknowledged but chose to ignore. The seller already had the bicycle posted for a decent price, but I figured why not shoot an offer and try to get a better deal. Worst they could say was no, or so I thought. The seller agreed to the offer, and we scheduled to meet a few hours later that day. The city of the meetup location was the first red flag. Definitely not the safest city, and I would see a reason why. But I proceed to head over to the park for the meet. As soon as I get off the freeway, I notice that this area does not look like the best part of this already unsafe city. I continue on. I pull up to the park and see multiple families and think this shouldn't be too bad. There's several people around, so I message the seller and he tells me to meet him near the bathrooms at the back end of the parking lot. Okay, on my way. I move my car to the designated, much more secluded meeting area where I see three guys, probably in their mid to late teens, with a bike I'm there to buy. Oh, I want it. I attempt to greet the three fine young gentlemen, holding on to my soon-to-be ride, but there was no response, so I ask if I could check out the bike, to which one of them actually speaks and says yes. After a quick look over, I tell the non-mute young buck that I'll take the bike and give him the cash. Instead of letting go of the bike and handing it over to me, the one holding the bike says he'll help me load it in my car. Sure, I'm right over here. As we start walking the 15 feet to my car, the three youngsters turn in the wrong direction. I try to say, hey, my car is right here, but they keep walking, so I say, hey, where y'all going? The response was definitely not what I anticipated, but looking back, I know I put myself in the situation. One of these bad boys turns around and lifts his shirt just enough to reveal the handle of a handgun in his waistband. Definitely not worth it, and I was not going to FAFO if it was actually real or not. I immediately stop and watch as they duck through a hole in the chain link fence and down into the wash with my bike and my 200. I call my girlfriend, fuming, and tell her what happened. She asks if I had called the cops. That's probably a good idea, given the unsavory nature of this city and the mention of a gun, or maybe it was a slow day. The local police showed up within 10 minutes and I see here a helicopter overhead. I tell them my story and they say that criminals in the area prey on folks from out of town, although I graduated college in the same city, so I was familiar. The officer gives me a police report number and tells me a detective would be in contact. Never heard anything after that day. The officer also suggested meeting at a bank where there are cameras or at the police station. They have designated rooms to conduct that type of business. Also, preferably, do not go alone. TLDR went to buy a bicycle for 200 from an OfferUp seller. After seeing a gun, went home without the bike or the cash. Jester's friend says, I personally always do my trades in front of a police station. The ones near me have specifically designated areas to do them that are full light, have windows into the building one way, and like 4 cameras. If the other person says no, I ask for a police station near them for a couple more since I have to go out of my way. Usually they say yes. Once I got ghosted, the other tried to get me to do the trade elsewhere. I said no, then they blocked me all. Miss McGandis says, just want to say that even when accompanied, things can still go wrong. My childhood friend and neighbor was murdered when accompanying his GF to sell a game console. Originally, the buyer wanted my friend's GF to go alone, so you can only imagine what other horrors could have happened. So please be diligent next time and go to a safe and public place like the officer suggested, a bank or police station. S1MPLY Sucks says, that a pretty cheap tuition fee, since you still have your phone and car with you. Wish you luck and better judgment next time. Thanks for watching, I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.